During lockdown, the world did not feel dangerous. It felt abandoned. Streets were empty, shops were closed, and people disappeared behind doors like they had never existed. Everyone said it was temporary, that we just needed to stay inside and wait. I believed that too. I thought staying inside meant safety. I didn't realize that staying inside for too long could change the meaning of a house itself. I was living alone at that time, in a rented house that was already quiet even before the lockdown. I chose it because I wanted peace, distance from noise, distance from people. When the lockdown started, that peace slowly turned into something else. Days lost their shape, nights stretched endlessly, and the house started feeling larger than it actually was. Rooms felt deeper, corridors felt longer, and silence settled into every corner like dust. At first, nothing unusual happened. I cooked, cleaned, watched old movies, and tried to keep myself busy. But the house never truly felt empty. There was a constant feeling that something was present. Not visible, not loud, but aware. Sometimes I would stop in the middle of a room for no reason, feeling like I was being observed. I blamed isolation, stress, and the fear everyone was carrying during those days. Slowly, small things began to change. Objects were not where I remembered leaving them. A chair would face a different direction. A door would be slightly open, even though I was sure I had closed it. These changes were subtle, easy to ignore, but they created doubt. I started questioning my own memory. I started wondering if the house was affecting my mind, or if my mind was affecting the house. One night while washing my face, I felt something behind me. It wasn't a sound or a movement. It was pressure, like someone standing too close. I turned around quickly, my heart racing, but the room was empty. The silence that followed felt thick and uncomfortable, as if the house was waiting for my reaction. I laughed nervously and went back to my room. But sleep did not come easily that night. From that moment on, the nights changed. The house felt different after dark. The walls seemed closer, the ceiling lower, and the air heavier. Sometimes I could hear soft sounds moving through the house. Not footsteps exactly, but something slow and careful. These sounds never repeated the same way twice, but which made them harder to understand and easier to fear. One morning, I noticed deep scratches on my bedroom door. They were not random marks. They looked deliberate, as if something had dragged its fingers across the surface with force. I stood there for a long time, staring at them, trying to find a logical explanation. There was none. I lived alone. No one had entered the house, and yet those marks were real. After that, I stopped feeling safe anywhere inside the house. I kept lights on even during the day. I avoided certain rooms. I started sleeping lightly, waking up at the smallest sound. The house responded in its own way. The silence grew louder. The feeling of presence became stronger. Sometimes the walls made soft noises, like whispers without words, as if the house was trying to communicate but hadn't learned how yet. I tried calling friends and family to distract myself, but those calls felt strange. The connection was there, but conversations felt hollow. Sometimes there would be long pauses, heavy breathing, or sudden silence. I began to feel like the house was listening through the phone, learning my voice, learning how I sounded when I was afraid. One night, as I lay in bed, I felt the mattress shift, slowly, gently, like someone sitting beside me. My body froze. I didn't open my eyes. I didn't move. I could feel the weight, the cold pressure sinking into the bed. The air around me felt unfamiliar, like it didn't belong to the world I knew anymore. Then I heard a whisper close to my ear. It didn't sound angry or violent. It sounded calm, almost curious. It said that I had stayed inside for too long. That sentence didn't feel like a threat. It felt like an observation, like the house was finally understanding something about me. That was when I realized the truth. The house wasn't haunted by a ghost. It wasn't possessed by something ancient or evil. It was empty for too long, just like me. Lockdown didn't just isolate people. It isolated places. And when a house is left alone with a single human for too long, it starts to change. It starts to reflect that loneliness. It starts to remember. The next morning, I decided to leave. I packed quickly, afraid that hesitation would stop me. As I opened the main door, I felt resistance. Not physical, but emotional. Like the house didn't want to be left alone again. Before stepping out, I looked back one last time. On the wall near the entrance, something was carved deeply into the surface. It wasn't written carefully. It was scratched with force, as if done slowly with effort. The message was simple but heavy. It suggested that the house had awakened because of me, that my presence had changed it. I left without looking back again. I never returned. Life eventually returned to normal. Lockdown ended. People went back outside. Noise returned to the world. I moved to different places, lived among people again, and tried to forget that house. But some things don't stay behind. Even now, when I am alone in a quiet room, I feel the same presence. Not strong, not loud, but patient. The walls feel aware. The silence feels familiar. And that is when I understand something I wish I didn't. Some houses don't need ghosts to become horror stories. All they need is loneliness, silence, and one person staying inside long enough for the walls to learn how to remember them.